All right, guys. So we're working in the Array-2 area. Okay, so it's the same as our original array problems, except we are going to have to play around with using at least one loop. So I've already deleted the code in this one, so I'll walk through that with you. Okay, so let's read the situation. It says, return the number of even ints in the given array. Note, the mod operator computes the remainder. Example, 5 modulus 2 is 1. Okay, so we know that any number, if I divide it by 2 and there is no remainder, that would be an even number. Okay, so if that is in my conditional and I can go through every single number, I could find out which ones are even, and then all I need to do is really just count them. Okay, so I know that I have to have a total count ultimately, so let's just code some. If I have to have a count, I'm going to be counting. Let's just write a count. Okay, so ultimately I know that I'm going to return what this count is, and in between, that's where my logic is. This is where I would need to use a loop, because I don't know how many ints are in this array. I don't know how large it is. And if we look at these examples, this one has a size, well, it has 5 elements in it. So it has a length of 5. Here it has a length of 3. Here it has a length of 3. So I don't know, and it doesn't say anything about how many ints are going to be in there, minimum or maximum. So I know that I'm going to have to basically go through every single one and then just test it. So let's build a for loop. So for int I equals 0, and I'm going to go to I is less than nums dot length. Okay, because that would tell me how many elements are in there, which would be, so like the first one, that's 5. Okay, so I would go to 4, which would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be 0, 1, 2. Okay, and then I'm going to increment up by 1 every time I finish the loop. So inside of here, okay, so inside of here, when I is at 0, that's going to be that first position. I need to check that one. Okay, so if nums at position I, because ultimately I'm looking at position 0 the first time, 1, then 2, then 3, as many as there are. But since I don't know what it is and I need to go through each one, I need to use my incrementer, so I don't have to have this hard-coded. So the number array called nums at position I, if I divide it by 2 and there is no remainder, so if modulus 2, if the remainder is 0, that would mean that I have an even number. So let's increment up my counter by 1. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and run this. If I'm not exactly correct, I'm just going to look at my code and see how I can rewrite it a little bit. But I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so this counted up this one, and this one, return 3. I have 3. Counted this one, 0. It's also counting as an even number. 0 is not an even number, but according to this test, it works. This is not counting any, so that's good. All right. Okay, we had it all correct. Okay, so that's how I would approach the logic for arrays. For Array-2, modulus is really great for us to be able to find information about a number, if it's even or odd. and establishing some type of counter and giving it a specific value before we start looping, then we can just use that to count every time we get one of those instances. So this is how I would approach this problem. Good luck. Have fun.